Hello to the two fans and welcome back. This is another replay and what looks to be a really fun game, but I won't spoil it for you. You just saw on my hero though, probably all you need to know about this game, or on my screen rather, as we hop on to our free camera. This is going to be match ID number, oh shit, no I didn't record it. Okay, oh hold up, I'll have it. Give me a sec, I'm vamping. You guys are amused by my ability to keep on talking. No. Okay. No. It is going to be match ID number 2822706922. This one you might be able to follow along if you catch this replay fast enough. Anyway, it is going to be a techies game with Elizabeth Dewitt playing the most annoying hero in the game. 64 is going to be on the Magnus with Label playing the Tinker. Rave is going to be on the Ursa, and Penguin waddling around on the Abaddon. A little bit of a bungle in the jungle as we've got WK on the Juggernaut with Sorry I Suddenly Picked Outer World Devourer. Hola is going to be pushed into some mines but not going to die. He's going to be on the Kunkka with Holy Shit on the Rubik. Now 64 going to be brought up, pulled back, and Astral imprisoned in the middle of 3 as WK draws first blood. Killing the techies, thank God. 64 will also be dropped, maybe. He looks like he's gonna survive. 6 seconds for another telekinesis. Hola, he's looking for, yeah, if they chain their spells well, he's just gonna go down. There we go. Pulled up, brought back. No torrent, a little bit off the mark, a lot of bit off the mark, but they still get the kill. So 2-0. I didn't see who the bounty runes went to, but we'll go ahead and check that out. It is Ursa and Tinker getting the bounty runes. So the Radiant get both bounties, the Dire get both kills. So we'll start out just like that. It's a Magnus Techies lane, pretty much meaning that this lane is going to be Cancer. However, Elizabeth Dewitt has to get his mines down and a good spot for the Skewer. The unfortunate part about a Magnus versus something like a Pudge in these kind of lanes is that a Magnus, you actually have to set up and skewer into a certain location. So it's pretty easy to tell when you're going to do that. With a Pudge, the hook just comes out of the trees, and they don't see it coming. So, not only that, but Skewer's range is kind of... It's actually a little bit better than level 1 Pudge hook. So you have a little bit more versatility with it. However, Juggernaut starts with a decent amount of armor. Still will get Still will get brought down. God, that's so painful to watch. And this is coming from a caster who has done this kind of lane multiple times, except it's a Pudge Techies lane. And I feel so bad every single time I do it. But these kind of things happen. Now, Elizabeth Dewitt is going to start out with as much regen as possible in the Nana department, which means you can continue to spam these mines. And done correctly, you can place mines without the enemy knowing what you're doing, and things will go well for you. But one thing I really like about something like a Magnus lane is that, unlike Pudge, who doesn't really have that much follow-up to his hook, he can rot, and you hope that much is enough. Magnus has a really good auto attack and a good nuke. So not only does Skewer do a lot of damage early game, but Shockwave does a lot of damage, and he does a lot of damage. So you should be able to follow up on a kill pretty easily, especially against against a Juggernaut, because he can just go ahead and spin, and he should be fine. Oh, Elizabeth Dewitt, he's got Suicide. He'll pop it, and that'll be enough to bring down the Rubik after he drops a mine. WK, this is the right click we were talking about. However, in comes a Torrent. He's going to get the Skewer and is able to get the kill because of it, but now he has to trade. Unfortunately, with the X marks the spot, it's not going to be a decent trade. Ola, he's going to have another Torrent in 4 seconds, but with Techies coming back, it doesn't look like he wants to continue going for this. If he places this Torrent well, though, he might just be able to pick up 64. We've got multiple TPs in. Holy shit's there. Just a telekinesis, all that's needed, but the Torrent will come out, and 64 is well enough away. No mana on the Magnus, though. Looks like maybe we'll see an Arcane Root come out this lane, or Arcane Boots come out this lane at some point or another. But I've been harping on this lane for so long. I don't think I introduced I'm Boss, but he's going to be on the Dragon Knight, going toe-to-toe with Penguin. It's a tough call on who wins this lane, but I'm fairly certain that the Abaddon will win. Just because Abaddon can go up and he can trade hits very effectively. Like you see, this Dragon Knight can't run. He's just got to tank through it. And with 2 points in Dragon's Blood, he's better at tanking through it than most. But if Penguin's got... Oh, come on. This is why I don't like leaving this lane. If... Oh, WK. He might get a kill on 64, so hold that thought. He's going to go ahead and pop his Blade Fury, but he's not going to find 64. He's going to walk into a mine. This is a very dead Juggernaut. 64, all he's got to do is get close enough, but no, WK is going to walk away from this one, barely alive. Pop the Tango and back out, but Penguin is actually doing poorly against this, as Label will get brought down, or Label will bring down WK. Blah, 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 blah. So, Abaddon doing a little bit worse than I would have liked to see from Abaddon against the Dragon Knight, but with 3 points in Breathe Fire and a Soul Ring, if the Dragon Knight can continue spamming out without taking too much trade damage, he should be fine. So the thing that Abaddon has to do to win this lane is to not use up your Aphotic Shield early on. Instead, you just wait till level 2 or level 3 and passively fight. Don't worry about Aphotic Shield for nuke damage, because what that allows you to do is when things start going down and you start trading hits more, you can pop the Aphotic Shield or 2 or 3 Aphotic Shields and just trade hits and probably even bring down, given you've got Curse of the Avernus and what I imagine, yeah, he's got an Orb of Venom as well. So, and this is kind of true for any solo lane. You really, unless you've got a Soul Ring like Iron Boss has, you really don't want to use your spells early on. It's all about mana management in a lane like that. And if you can, hold it for as long as possible. If you're against a dual lane or a tri-lane, you've got a spell that's for escape. Only use it when you need to escape. Don't use it to initiate. Don't use it to just move around fast. But 64 could be in a bit of trouble. He's waiting for the Blade Fury to end, then skewers in, and the mines are enough. This is why, if you're going to kill a Magnus, make sure you can kill him in your stuns. Otherwise, he's just going to do that. And Elizabeth do it. Right-clicking down, holy shit. This is enough damage. The skewer will come through. There is an X mark. 64 getting thrown into the air. A suicide onto Ola, but the mine isn't going to explode, which means Ola will survive through this. In comes WK, back around, in town, looking for the kill on 64, but is not fast enough. 64 has those arcane boots we talked about, so with 365 movement speed, he is faster than the Juggernaut until, well, Jug pops phase boots, but that's a different story. Arcane boots now on the Techies as well. It's a double damage popped. Techies is now, or at least Rave is sitting in the bottom lane, very, very low. Iron Boss is going to go through the jungle and try to find him. Come on. Really? Guys, chill. Iron Boss might still bring down Rave if he can pop the good Breathe Fire and gets the kill. A very important one for him to get, too. I'm rather impressed at the Breathe Fire there. I don't even think he had vision of it. For the most part, just kind of assumed he would be there, juking him out. So Rave will go down. This is pre-Roshan attempt. However, this would be a good time to go out and take it, as I'm pretty sure I've missed half the kills this game. I am 90% sure I've missed half of them, and it's a bloodbath. 12 kills. I need a dedicated observer at this point. I'm trying to like go over, you know, how big things are happening, and I don't know. It's one of those games where any kill can happen in any lane, just because Tinker's really good at bursting heroes down. A Magnus Techies, all it takes is a good skewer. You can't really see a fight going down. You just see a skewer, and you see a dead hero. So I just have it auto set, so to whenever a skewer is going down, to just teleport to the Magnus. Or whenever a rocket gets cast, you just teleport to the Tinker. Bottom lane, relatively passive, however, we did see Rave go down, and we caught that one. That's a kill that you can catch, because you can see it coming. You can see heroes dropping low. You can see people on the map moving together. That kind of thing's easy. But with a Tinker, you just never know. And with a Techies, you just never know. So, I'm trying to justify my poor camera control. Is it working? I don't know. Anyway, Penguin's going to pop out with the borrowed time, just continue to chase down Iron Boss, but doesn't have really enough to tank. If he was under the tower, he'd get healed back up to full, but here, he'll just get slowly healed back up to about 1/10 of his HP, and That'll be enough. Looks like he popped the salve, so he should be fine for now. Rave is going to go into the Roshan pit, but he did cast his ultimate, which means everyone knows he's here, but no one's really reacting to it. I guess they just don't want to do anything about it. So Roshan will fall. Rave is going to get an early Aegis Immortality, and no one is going to be the wiser. I'm pretty sure you can still hear the Savage or the Enrage across the map. It's kind of like Pudge's ultimate, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they changed that, or maybe I'm just terrible at remembering things, and that's not actually how it works. But whatever the case, that'll be an early Roshan. 9 minutes, about the steady time that Ursa will be going for it. So it is timing well. I'll give him credit. Now he can probably bring down I'm Boss. I mean, with the Aegis Immortality, if you get the Curse of Ernest, the attack speed is amazing. Penguin just has to man up and go for it, but he's a little bit late on the call. He's a little bit through it, getting a suicide kill. Oh no, the borrowed time getting popped, and Penguin losing his opportunity to go aggro on this one. So Ray's going to have to head back to the jungle, or maybe think of another lane to go for. Top lane, 64, very low. Going to bait around the trees. Look to try to get Holy Shit to walk in some mines, but Holy Shit making a smart call here and not going to chase. One of the very benefits of having a techies in the game. BK. Got to be careful, though. He's chasing in a dangerous territory. They're going to drop a mine, but looks like they'll cancel it down. And sometimes you wonder. So Label is going to pull out a 10-minute Boots of Travel. Meanwhile, sorry, I suddenly... Oh, come on. There we go. Sorry, I suddenly... It's going to have not even the power treads out, so... It's very easy to tell who's winning this lane right now. There is going to be a self-astral as he gets very close to dying, but he will survive through it now. And X marks a spot. Suddenly, he's got to be very careful here. He could die to just one rocket cast, but is not enough. 2 seconds for the laser. He's going to throw it out. Potentially, he's got a long range, but can't quite find it. He's going to have to walk through creeps if he wanted it, so smart call not to go in. We're looking at just kind of casually sitting around right now. 11-3. Penguin's going to trade hits with I'm Boss, but neither one should die to this. Seriously. They found him. They found him and they pulled him into their trees. Pretty sure it's illegal in some states. iLabel is going to move in, rocket out, self-astral. And Ola is going to X-Marks himself, too. There's going to be a March of the Machine. Sorry, I suddenly dropping very, very low. The courier, can he find it? They're feeding it? No, he sees it, but he can't quite get up to it. One hit, it's enough. iLabel will get the easiest courier kill of his life. A walking courier at 12 minutes. Free gold, that's the soul ring. I mean, a Tinker techies right now, and they're ahead. This has got to be the scariest game for Dire. Speaking of scary. Yeah. Yeah, that's happening. One benefit to this game, for the Dire at least, is that I'm Boss is doing very well. He's got a kill to his name. He's sitting on a lot of CS. I mean, this guy can easily pull this game back if he's careful. BK, he's moving around. But Elizabeth Doyle is doing well, and the Skewer in multiple kills in the top lane. This has been a really good techies game. 22. I kind of want him to buy an Aether Lens, but that's just me. I know Ags, a lot of techie players love Ags more, and I'm not going to try to fault that. There's a lot of damage coming out from the rocket combo. The one issue with this Tinker is his farming speed is kind of hindered because he only has 2 points of March in the Machines, but it's 13 minutes. He'll max it out very soon. It's not like it's a real issue for him. I'm Boss taking an Ancient stack. This is really good for them, actually. A lot of golden experience that can go their way from this one. However, he's going to run out of his dragon form very soon. He's not going to finish it. They're going to leave it. Unfortunately for the Radiant, they have no one that can tank it instead. But Maybe with an Empower Magnus on the Ursa, they'll have enough. There is going to be a Tinker kill here. This is a huge kill if they can get it, and it looks like they can. The Sanity's Eclipse coming out, but it's not really doing all that much. Tinker, he's got the Soul Ring, but there's nothing he can do after it. So Tinker will go down 620 gold to the Outer World Devourer, the most important gold income that this OD has gotten the entire game. So D-War is in the mid lane. Olan, holy shit, are close by. They're starting to mount a little bit of a push, but that'll only put some pressure on the tower. Not too much more. Brave opts for my least favorite item on Ursa nowadays, the Vladimir's Offering. Just, you don't need it. That's kind of why I don't like it. But I'll harp on that for a bit after this kill goes down. Rave on the run. He does have Enrage, so he shouldn't die. And there was an X marks, but I don't know who it was on. So, probably a creep. So the reason I don't like Vlad's is a percentage-based damage increase is not useful for Ursa because all of his damage is bonus damage from the Fury swipes. So you can get the same lifesteal from just a casual Morbid Mask. The only benefit is that it happens for everyone in your team, but you want a Vlad's on someone like your Abaddon. It's where the aura is necessary for the hero to build. For Ursa, you're very item slot dependent, so that Morbid Mask will be much better spent. Oh, come on. Sorry, I suddenly low, but not dead. They do get the Tinker, and that's all she wrote. And there's going to be a Torrent. Rave, Telekinesis stub, but he'll be fine. The Enrage is down, but they can't quite continue chasing. So that Morbid Mask would be much better spent into something like a Satanic later on, where you actually get a whole lot of benefit off the increased lifesteal active. This, you don't need it. Someone else in your team should build it. Most likely the Abaddon. Or even the Magnus can build a Vlad's, but don't build auras on your main carries, on your main cores, guys. That's my only tip. You want the Vlads, you want the drums, but you don't want it on someone like an Ursa. You instead want it on an Abaddon. You instead want it on an Ogre, on whatever the 4 or 3 position is. Anyway, a big gank onto the bottom lane. Abaddon in a lot of trouble, does have his borrowed time. He's getting baited in, though. He doesn't know that there are people here. He'll pop the borrowed time, but there is going to be an Astral that waits out the duration, which means he is dead as a doorknob. I'm twisting and turning like one, too. That is a very good gank on the bottom lane. No vision for the Radiant to scout that one out, and they pulled him back perfectly. They gave him something to chase, and he did, and that meant he had no position to return to once they came in. So, brilliantly executed by the Dire. They've got a double damage too, so they can put in a whole lot of damage on this tower. I'm Boss. He's got an Ancient, or it looks like he took the Ancient stack. So 108 last hits at 16 minutes. His net worth is through the roof. Highest in the game, 7,700. He is moving to have an incredibly huge impact on this game. X marks onto the Ursa. He gets torrented right after. Pops the Enrage, but stunned. There is going to be an RP pulling them all back here, but the torrent comes through. The boat, it is enough to bring Blue Label down. And that means that the Tinker has no part in this fight. Sorry, I suddenly will defensively Astral the Magnus so that he cannot get chased. I'm Boss, man fighting Penguin, but the X marks will bring him back to safety for now. There is going to be a Torrent, though. Penguin in a bit of trouble, has borrowed time at the ready if he needs it, but Magnus ends up chasing Sarai suddenly even further and gets brought into his own territory. However, Sarai suddenly will get brought down by a mine, so Elizabeth Dewitt is pulling in the work here, salvaging the fight for the Radiant. WK, all the while, has been fighting and farming and doing everything he needed to be doing. Or, sorry, just farming, not fighting. Rave will chase him down, but doesn't quite have the movement speed. There is going to be an Omni Slash, but it only bounces a couple of times because it's still level 1. Rave, he's got to continue hitting this one. He doesn't have Enrage. Penguin's going to continue chasing Rave. What are you doing? Oh no, Penguin doesn't have an Aphotic Shield. He does have a Soul Ring, though. I would pop it, Aphotic yourself, and go, but he's going to continue chasing WK, who's got the Phase Boots up in 1 second, and that means Penguin, oh, and he casts his Aphotic right as Phase comes off cooldown. He needs Phase Boots of his own right now, Penguin. He can't afford to have just brown boots. And I'm not quite sure I agree with the item pickup of the... I guess I do kind of like the Vanguard because you can build it into a Crimson Guard later. And this is kind of that supporty aura Abaddon I was talking about. But really, you want some way to catch up and get those kills if you're going to be an offlane Abaddon. Nice mine usage coming out from Elizabeth Dewitt. This guy is doing everything he needs to right now to make sure that this game doesn't snowball out of control. I mean, the kill advantage is the way of the Radiant, and they do have a net worth advantage too. But the thing that I don't like about this game for them is Iron Boss is in control. He hasn't died once in this game, despite being in the middle of the fray, and killing him is a task and a half for a team like the Radiant. You need to be able to get him in a position where he walks over mines, because killing him with with an Ursa is stupidly difficult. You've got to get the initiation perfect, and you've got to get the Ursa in close enough. And unfortunately, that Fury Swipe just doesn't do nearly enough damage to be able to get that kill. Oh, borrowed time going to get popped. Penguin still going in for this tower. Do they have a glyph? They do not, but the borrowed time's going to end. The X Marks pulls him right back in. Iron Boss, though, he can't quite get enough. The reverse polarity from 64 is going to connect into holy shit, but he cannot follow up on it. Now he's way back behind enemy lines, pulling Iron Boss in. This could be the kill they need. Can they bring him down? He is too damn tanky right now. He's surviving through it all. Goes in for Penguin, gets the kill. Rave will come in, but it doesn't attack the right target. Now they'll find him. They need to astral someone, but Iron Boss is just regenerating everything. Rave, he can't catch up. In comes holy shit. Not enough mana for anything. The Enrage will pop. Needs one more swipe. Iron Boss, he's pulling in, but they don't pop the mines. Rave will still get the kill. Oh boy. A necessary kill, and now the Dire are in a tough situation. That was the one hero they could not let die, and they see him go into the grave. Buys out the Shadow Blade, who already had it, but never delivered it to himself. Is that a Hurricane Pike? Who's it going to go towards? Sorry, I suddenly pulling a Hurricane Pike out to himself. WK is still farming. He's got the... I really like the Battle Fury pickup here. This is a game that you know is going to go a little bit longer than you'd like. You're behind, but you have the space you need to farm, so why not? Just go for it. He will have to avoid every single conflict, though. He can't fight people like this. He's going to go in and just TP out. There was no stuns from Penguin to stop that anyway, but it's a good call. Blue Label. Well, this is a Tinker that is very dead. However, he might have bought enough time for Sorry I Suddenly to go down as well. The mines will be enough, and Elizabeth Dewitt pulling in another kill. 11 and 6 on the techies. Now Rave will move in looking for Ola, who does have an X marks a spot, so Rave, if he does get aggressive, will just get pulled right back in. Speaking of pulled, 64 will pull Ola back in a bad situation, but Rave, he can't hit. This Ursa has had the worst targeting issues I think I've seen, and a lot of it could just be due to fog, but he needs to start hitting targets now, and I do like the call that he made not to go in this time. He would have died if he had gone in there, but he's got to start hitting people. And this kind of invis initiation that doesn't erupt in an initiation is hurting him immensely. Mines going down, Elizabeth Dewitt, no one the wiser. I don't think the Dire know he's there right now, and these mines can have a massive impact in the game. Have to see if he can actually get them off, though. Penguin has borrowed time. He's also got a TP scroll, but if he uses it, Ola's doing a fantastic job at holding his spells, making sure that the TP can't come out right now. So Penguin will go down as Rave pops the Enrage, but there is going to be a stun Dragon Tail enough. There is an Astral as well. They have a Torrent. It'll come out now, and Rave, yep, he'll get stunned by this, and he does end up dropping by the Roshan Pit, who is back alive. So at some point, at some point, Rave needs to think about going in for that Ursa, getting the second Aegis Mortality of the game, and looking to go aggro from there. Dire still pulling out teamfight after teamfight, grabbing that lead right back, the net worth almost in their advantage. As Elizabeth Dewitt, he does get spotted, but pops it. Oh, the suicide and the mind kill gets a double for his trouble. And I mean, this is an Aghanim Scepter pre-20 minutes for him. I would really love him to get an Aether Lens at this point. I mean, the damage amp on the mines is so good, and the range that you can throw them at. Just one of my favorite builds for techies. But he knows what he's doing, so I won't try to criticize his play right now. Blink Force on 64 has everything he needs to be the playmaker here. As I'm Boss, taking quite a bit of burst damage, but no way to solidify the kill. Battle Fury completed on MK or WK. Holy shit. TPing in alongside Ola. As a Dire moving through their jungle to find 64. He'll blink out. He's got all the mobility he needs, but they're still going to chase him. Sorry, suddenly has a Hurricane Pike if he wants to force himself forward. But chasing this deep into a Techie's controlled jungle is not smart. They realize it, and they will not continue to fight this. However, I'm Boss. He's right there. Brave will bring down WK in the meantime, but the eyes are on the top lane. As I'm Boss and holy shit, they're chasing him in deep. If he can make his way around the trees and force him to chase him, he is going to RP, but can he get the skewer distance? They are going to telekinesis him, which means he can't do it. So the skewer will be away to safety, but it won't pull anyone with him. Meanwhile, Elizabeth do it, waiting in the trees, dropping some mines, gets them down. A lot of burst damage to Suicide, but it's not enough. He needed one more mine. Oh, there it is. Okay. I think every death of this Techies has been a suicide at this point. Though, I can't quite see if they can, who killed who. I don't think it shows that until the post-game, but whatever the case. Babel. Gonna be fine for now. I'm Boss moving in for a kill. Finds Penguin, but he's got no follow-up. Looks for Elizabeth Do It, who doesn't have Suicide anymore, so I'm Boss going to go in for this kill. He's got the Breathe Fire, but I think you really need your Dragon Form to go in for this one. There is going to be a Stasis Trap on the ground, though. He does get stunned by that for a long time, but not quite long enough. He's going in for Penguin. The borrowed time's there. Gets healed by the boat, but I don't think that's exactly what he wanted here. I'm Boss still trying to bring down this Techies. Doesn't end up getting him with a tick, but he'll drop to Rave. Still a very good kill for I'm Boss to get. I think a little bit worth it for him at the moment as Penguin running up to his high ground. Or the enemy high ground, rather. Looking in for holy shit. 64 is there. Ola and holy shit are fighting this one mano-y-mano. But Penguin doesn't have his borrowed time for 20 seconds. WK is going to chase in here. There's a skewer back. It pulls in two, but no mines to skewer them into. The shockwave hits between the two of them as the X marks the torrent. 64 locked in place, but can they get the damage they need to? Rave is there. Zarya suddenly will now TP in as 64 taking quite a bit of damage from the arcane orbs. They still don't have quite enough to get this damage off Rave. He'll pop into the Shadow Blade, but they have the Sentry Ward there. He'll go in for the hit, but he can't do anything he needs there, and Rage is down. They've got the boat. They've got the Sanity. They get two. The Aegis Immortality will pull Rave right back, and Penguin coming in after the Astral Imprisonment. There is going to be an Omni Slash as WK moving in, goes in for the Blade Fury just to evade the damage of the rockets as Rave goes down. WK still fighting Label. He does go down to the Arcane Orbs. Meanwhile, there is 64. He's waiting by the mines. But who's gonna fall victim to it? He just needs a skewer, but he can't get it off. The Torrent, the Arcane Orbs are enough. And 3 dead from the Radiant team. The Dire losing nothing. As I'm Boss and holy shit now up to the top lane. They find Elizabeth Do It again. He does have a suicide this time around. Can they bring him down in enough time? They do! In the midst of a telekinesis. They're able to knock him down with a shockwave, among other things, but a good kill for them to get there. As he was just mining up the jungle. Ugh. Maybe a little bit of salt on the Techies. But this has been a fantastic return. I'm Boss. He should not die. He won't even get barely touched by these mines. I mean, this is what 30 armor does for you. Techies mines, like, he can just walk over the stack right now and look. About an eighth of his HP, or quarter of his HP. That's gone from mines that 20 minutes ago would have killed anyone. So, BK continuing to farm up. What's his next item? He's got it coming out to him on the courier. It is a Yasha. Kind of a slow farming juggernaut right now. Yasha, Battle Fury, and Phase Boots. 28 minutes. A little bit of a fight erupting in the top lane. Rave getting annihilated by the combination of stuns and support setup that the Dire have drafted here. Being drawn, though, I think the Dire want to push, and the cool thing about pushing now is the Techies doesn't have a whole lot of mines set up right now, but he still has mines ready. And with a Tinker there as well, this just buys him so much time to support these up. So Tinker going to the lane that he knows they're going to push, dropping down a couple of marksman machines, and this push is dead. Creeps don't even make it to the other side of the river. Top lane, Boss starting to get a little bit of a push of his own. Does have a Blade Mail, but Blade Mail doesn't exactly do all that much right now. I mean, it doesn't return the damage of the mines, so I don't see really any point of having it. Speaking of mines, they do get popped because of the Sentry Ward. A couple marks of the machines. There is an Astral Imprisonment, though on the blue label. If they can follow up with this one, it could be nice, but it's only Sarai suddenly. Penguin going in a little bit deep, has a Blade Mail of his own. Astral to keep him in deep inside their jungle or their side of the map, but there's no follow-up. There's an Aphotic Shield in Sarai suddenly, but it's really all she wrote. Torn off the mark. Penguin still going in for this one. Another Blade Mail. Is it enough, though? He has the borrowed time, but they Astral him again. This borrowed time isn't doing any work. The Torrent is up. Sorry, suddenly he doesn't have dropping. The Sanity's Eclipse going down for the only kill, but it's a kill. Nonetheless, Sorry, suddenly will move in, but 64's there. He's got a blink RP if he wants it. They'll end up blinking out here. They'll skewer in. Boss a little bit too deep. The RP's there. Boss just getting cleaned up. Wrong side of the map, I guess. Techie's going down, though, for his trouble. Meanwhile, Rave a little bit deep as well. The X marks the spot. Keeping him in deep. He does have the Shadow Blade, but there is a Sentry Ward. Fortunately, no dust. They cannot continue chasing once he leaves the radius of the Sentry. WK still pushing, getting a tower. Rave will chase him down, though. Cannot pop Phase Boots or else he'll leave his Shadow Blade. But the Shadow Blade's actually, it's Sentry Ward, but same trouble. 64 moving in. And Rage, they got the damage, and yeah, okay. That's the easiest kill of their life. With a little bit of lull in the action, we can go ahead and check to be sure what we've got here. Ola, with his Veil of Discord, will give as much damage as possible with these Torrent Boat combos. Holy shit, not really with a lot of items to his name, but just enough to be useful. Sorry, I suddenly, with a Hurricane Pike and an early Moon Shard, going purely for attack speed, not really for any HP. I mean, he's relying on his Dragonlance to do everything he needs. Well, the component of the Hurricane Pike, rather. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Boss has kind of halted in his farm. The Silver Edge and the Blade Mail is all he's got. WK halted in his farm as well. As Penguin moving in. A Blade Mail pops. They can't get a little bit of damage on him. As Rave going underneath that same Sentry Ward. Sorry, suddenly getting some deeps off here. More damage into Penguin. Taking quite a bit from this one. The borrowed time immediately goes off with the Astral Imprisonment, so he does get the little bit of HP from the pop, but that's about it. Ola moving in. Bo, Torrent. He's got the Veil of Discord, and the damage destroys Penguin. Rave will also drop to this. Ola, perfect play. RP comes out. Can he pull him into mines? He does, but not quite enough for the mines from just the physical damage. There is a suicide. Boss taking so much here. Does have to Shadow Blade himself away from this one. Shockwave out. Not enough damage to bring down Boss. There is a Astral Imprisonment. And Saria suddenly can't attack. Hurricane pikes himself forward, pulls in for the Astral Imprisonment, and 64 is alone. Does he have another skewer? Looks like he does in 1 second, but it's not enough. Saria suddenly getting another kill, and the kills staying relatively even right now. I mean, don't get a whole lot of information from that teamfight recap, but this is all the information we need. Net worth advantage is in favor of the Dire. Experience well in favor. So we're sitting 27 to 25 at 33 minutes. Elizabeth Dewitt still doing his work. Kind of sad we didn't see an Aether Lens this game, but Again, to each their own when they play techies. Style, going to be coming out soon for WK. Penguin. After the Blade Mail, still hasn't really done all that much with himself. Boss. Can do an invisibility. Looking like he wants to go for that Lincoln Sphere. I can see that working out for him. Sorry, I suddenly could be in a bit of trouble. Stabbed himself onto the low ground. Gets away alive. But Rave proving to be a little bit of a troublesome spot on this game for the Dire team. They've got to deal with this Ursa, and it's really, really hard to deal with him when he's just really tanky from his ultimate and outputs so much damage. The only person that really can survive the onslaught from the Ursa is Boss, and even then, if he has a little bit of follow-up, he should be fine. As Blue Label moves in, looking to try to bring down Sarai suddenly. Doesn't quite have enough here. There is going to be a torrent, but off the mark. No boat, no Veil of Discord. Not looking for a fight, just looking for some time. That's all he needs. Rave on the bottom lane farming. The Dire know this. They've got Boss close by. But they need more to get this kill. They're rotating in with Ola. They can get the Dragon Tail. This is enough, I think, to bring down Rave. And with the Shadow Blade, should hit him once, and then Dragon Tail immediately. They get it. There is a torrent. There is the boat, the Veil of Discord. They've got everything. The Rage hasn't come off yet. They get the kill. Perfectly timed. The Ursa couldn't do anything about that. Brilliantly played from the Dire, executing everything they needed. As Penguin now moves in for Sarai, suddenly not a kill he can get. So Elizabeth do it, getting a kill. There's an RP now onto Holy Shit. Just buying some time, I think, as he can't get this kill. Now borrow time onto Penguin. And as we still have a fight down, I'm Boss looking to bring down 64, but he skewers himself to safety. We're looking 35 minutes now into this game. With 28 to 26, 54 kills already. And Dire are playing this one smart as far as mines go. They've got sentry wards down and places them around along the map. Do they have a gem yet? Looks like they don't have a gem, but they're torrenting for vision. And this is something I like here. Through now on the Sarai suddenly. No observers to scout them out, but he is out nonetheless. Whoever was bottom that just TP'd away, I imagine either Rave or 64. Meanwhile, Ancients are still getting stacked, and Roshan now going to be the next target. These Arcane Orbs are outputting a lot of damage. One might say they're annihilating this Roshan. This will be an Aegis for Iron Boss or Sarai Suddenly. I think I prefer to have it on Sarai Suddenly because he's a little bit squishier, but have to see where it goes. First Roshan not going to the Ursa. And this is also a cheese, a third of the game. And yeah, Sarai Suddenly will pick up the Aegis Mortality. Meanwhile, into the mid lane, a blink away from our Kunkka. As Rave is sitting there underneath the Sentry Ward. But the Dire, they've got their eyes. Looks like it's on the top lane. That tier 2 will survive long enough to give him time to get there. Penguin could be in a bit of trouble. If Ola can find this X marks the spot, he's got a Blink Dagger if he needs it, but we're just going for the Torrent. The Veil of Discord's there. Penguin is not out to safety just yet. I'm Boss going in. 64, his only savior, is now being stunned up and brought down. However, he will survive for now. I'm Boss now turning his attention onto Penguin, doing enough damage, but not really taking much back from the Blade Mail. There is a Torrent. Penguin does still have borrowed time. We'll get him away from the stun. He is fine for now. As Holy Shit brings down Rave. I don't entirely understand how, but looks like it was with the help of Sarai Suddenly and WK. So this fight on the top lane was just a distraction. It worked, for me at least. As the Dire now moving towards the mid lane. We have a disconnect, so I'll probably have to fast forward through this. This is why I love replays. There's a pause, you just fast forward out of it. A skewer back, I'm Boss. He tanked a whole lot of damage, but he's still alive. Brings down 64. No, he walks back into the mines. WK taking so much from the 64 is alive, and the rockets, not enough. Oh, no, they are enough. Boom. That was disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. Blue Label could still get this kill. He's got enough for a little bit more, but the fog keeping his his last set of rockets from going through. Wouldn't have killed holy shit anyway. He needed rockets and a laser to get that kill. Still, though, rather unfortunate, as the Dire losing all but the Rubik. In an incredibly well-played fashion. Great mines from the techies. He went for the Bloodstone, so endless mines. Really, this mana regeneration is huge. Not enough to keep him with a steady state of mines, but it's enough to give him respectable regen. And with 16 Bloodstone charges too, I mean, this gives him a lot more than he absolutely needs. So if he pulls out something like, I really want him to get that Aether Lens, I really do. But Octarine Core might just be a little bit better for him for the cost right now. More damage on mines is kind of trumped by being able to put out mines faster, having a higher amount of regeneration. All good things. Or a second Bloodstone, you know. Rave will move in, looking for Ola, but the invisibility is quite a bit enough. The Enrage is out. They get the X marks the spot. They're looking to try to get enough here. The Torrent will connect after the Telekinesis. The damage is out, and Rave getting annihilated by the Arcane Orbs. He goes down. WK still fighting, but the RP catching 4. Do they have enough damage here? It looks like with the damage from the Magnus, the Empower cleaving through them all. Label comes in. He's able to bring down Sorry suddenly, and Ola goes down. The Radiant, 2 amazing fights in a row. Iron Boss, the only one alive, and he's got no armor. What the hell? This is the funkiest Dragon Knight. Oh man, that's the only issue with fast forwarding through pauses. It does this kind of funky stuff. So he's literally just punching him. This is like Krav Maga Dragon Knight. Blue Label moving in with the Ghost Scepter. Radiant have trouble pushing though. This is the one issue with their lineup. They're terrible tower pushers. As Magnus, 64 up on the high ground, getting a lot of damage done to him by Iron Boss, the punching master. He's just going in 1 punch, 2 punch, 3 punches, doing so much damage. However, Penguin and Borrowed Time now taking them down. There's the Dragon doing a lot, and the Dragon with armor. Anyway, is able to bring down Penguin. Now moving in for more. 64 is there. He does get the Dragon Tail and the Ghost Scepter wearing off. Can he deal the deeps that he needs to? Just one Ghost Scepter is there, and the damage over time ticking away, but it's not enough. And he'll survive through it all. There is going to be... wow. Yeah, that's a lot of mines only to do a little bit. This techies. This techies, man. It's the 3rd highest net worth. He's got 4,500 gold to his name. How much does Octarine cost? Like 59. Okay. 5,900 gold for Octarine Core. He's about 1,000 gold away from it. Now up for Wraith King, or WK. The Omni Slash out on a Ghost Scepter. I don't know if I understand, but WK's dead. Blink, Rocket, dead. Blue Label on top of this one. I love the Ghost Scepter pickup from him. And it builds into an Octarine too, or not, it builds into an Ethereal Blade too. So if he wants more damage at some point, there you go. Ola gonna go down to Rave, 64's there for a little bit of added insurance. And the Dire getting picked off. Rave now with the Empower is cleaving through the Ancient stack that Iron Boss would really have loved to take. With that all set and done, Rave pulling out a decent amount of gold from this. Elizabeth do it still. Dropping mines everywhere. You know, method to the madness here. There's always method to the madness. And some of these mines might not seem like anything really, but they're really good ways, I think. If someone goes to the rune, right, and walks back, they'll get hit by the stasis. They'll try to run away. Maybe they'll walk through these, get hit by another stasis. These will go off. They've got the range. Just an incredible mining. You know, this is really weird. It's something that I can't really explain. That's because I'm not a techies player. I'm not someone who totally understands the methodology to where you want to have mines and what are the best places to put mines are. But his combination of dropping down the stasis, the regular remote mines, and the regular land mines is beautiful. I mean, some techies will just not go for the stasis altogether, but he's dropping all three of them. He's got the mana regeneration to support it all, so he's really losing nothing here. There's no point he shouldn't be constantly placing mines down, and I love this. This is the benefit to the build he's gone for. That, and he's been so far ahead that he could have gone for it, but... And maybe would like to see him farm a little bit more, the waves, drop a couple of landmines down and or remote mines and clean up some creep waves and get him to that Octarine faster, but whatever the case, and a fight will break out into the mid lane. The RP comes through, catches on two. Penguin's there. They've got the boat, the Torrent, out from Ola, doing a little bit of damage to the Radiant, but not quite enough here. Rave being stunned immediately after he goes in. Now Ironboss turning around for the damage. The Arcane Orbs and the Ice from the Dragon form is doing a whole lot as they bring down Penguin. Now the move in, clean up Rave with the Torrent. The Dire just doing so much damage here, and it's not like the Radiant have too many ways to deal with it. If they can bait him to chase him up to this top lane here, there's so many stasis traps and ways to fight them, but for right now, Dire will just move straight into the mid lane. And the Dragon Knight's got a sword through his head. So we've kind of moved backwards here, where the Dragon Knight, when he pops the Elder Dragon form, has all of his armor, but when it comes off, he loses it. So that's kind of the bug that the replay has, the fast forwarding the replay has caused here, if Volvo's ever going to watch this. Anyway, with the Blade Mail trying to absorb some of that damage from the marks and the machines, put some of it back at the Tinker. They've got amazing tower push, but with the Dragon form down, the Dire don't want to continue pushing here. This just gives Techie some time to mine up his high ground. Meanwhile, Light Blue, he might fall victim to this someone if they go in for the top rune, but I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting for someone to just catch all of these mines. Wraith King. WK, rather. Well, not a decent amount of gold here. He will be going in for the Diffusal Blade, so the Manta Diffusal is his build of choice. But no one's gone. No one's taken the bait from this top lane yet. There's so many mines here. Just kind of sitting around waiting for someone to be unfortunate to step on them. Rave, okay. Looking for a Juggernaut. Doesn't find what he's looking for. Instead, brings down the Illusion. The Ancient, the scan comes out. They know he's by the Ancients. Someone is at the very least, but they're not going to go in for it yet. Both teams kind of just hanging back. We're at 70 kills right now at 46 minutes, but neither team wants to really make a play. I think the Radiant are relying on the Techies' mines to play around. If there are no Techies' mines, it's not a fight they want to take. C4 will make a move to the top to split push that one out. Blue Label, make a move to the bottom, split push that out. A lot of mines on the Radiant side of the map by this mid lane, the one that the Dire have chosen to push. They've got Elder Dragon form, so with the range, they might be able to survive this. I think he needs a BKB to move up into the high ground, because he's just going to die if he walks up right now. They're going, trying to bring down. They do end up getting the a good portion of the landmines here, the remote mines. As Rave goes back behind the fight. He is isolated, taking a huge amount of damage here, trying to pop the Manta Style, but Wraith King's Manta Style, mind you, but he will end up going down. And with a lot of remote mines now on the ground, there is a minefield sign. Do you think there's enough? I don't know if there are enough here. He pops him out anyway. Ironboss taking a huge chunk of damage from that one. That's not quite there. Minefield sign still on the ground. Ironboss regenerating most of his HP back here. Meanwhile, 60... Really? 64 just got a whole set of racks, and Elizabeth threw it, bringing down, holy shit, 64 going to the top lane, but with those racks down, that's well worth it. The Dire are losing so much here. Penguin's there. Does he have borrowed time? He does, but Huh. Okay. Does end up getting a chance to pop it. I don't think I've ever seen that happen aside from, you know, like massive Dagon hits or something. I've never seen just right clicks bring someone down fast enough that the borrowed time can't even catch up. So lots more landmines down on the ground. Techies doesn't quite yet have his Octarine core. 21 kills, 12 deaths, most of them suicides. The mana regeneration is off the charts with 19 Bloodstone charges. Once again, Dire pull back. Their top lane is now going to constantly push in, so pushing into this. Techie's Mines, a top lane that's unbalanced, and a Tinker. This is just a game that the Dire, I'm not even sure if they can win this unless they get a full team wipe. They need Assault Cuirasses, they need Guardian Greaves, they need so much here. They're going to go in for Blue Label, who still with the Ghost Scepter is surviving through most of it. WK taking a lot of damage, but he survives through it all. Somehow healing all the way back up. I think he had the cheese ready to go. There is a buyback on the Blue Label. Rave taking so much here. Does he have buyback? It looks like he doesn't. No, he does not. I'm Boss going to lay into this tower here, but he goes in deep. He wants kills. I don't know if this is a play here. Just get the tier 3 and get out, but he gets 4-staffed in with the Blade Mail. 64 trying to get him into the fountain, but he's so isolated. He cannot survive this one. He is down. The tier 3 will still drop. He's bought enough time for his team to try to go in for this Rax push. WK, the RP comes out, but he's evading it. He goes in for Elizabeth Do It, trying to bring down all of his mana, but he gets him down. The stasis is on the ground. He does get stunned by it. And the rack still hasn't dropped. Sorry, I suddenly is going in for it, but they've got the glyph. And Sorry, I suddenly has to back out for now. Pulling Penguin in a little bit deep. Might be able to turn around and pop the borrowed time, but with all of the Radiant close by, or at least most of the Radiant, he can't fight. The tier 3 down, but the melee racks doesn't fall. And it begs the question, if the Dragon Knight had not dove, would they have gotten it? And my answer would be most likely yes. But a lot can be said for the fact that he did end up buying a whole lot of time. Was it enough? We'll have to... I don't know. Elizabeth Do It. There is... Oh, but... Was that a Bloodstone suicide? No, it had to have been a Suicide Squad suicide. Yeah, it was a Suicide Squad. But that is 8 Bloodstone charges now, down from 19. 2 deaths is all it takes to eliminate a lot of that mana regeneration. I mean... That is how much per stack? 12 charges, each charge grants 1 mana. So he just lost 11 mana per second. So from 37 to 26, that's a pretty huge margin. And also is still just that far away from an Octarine core. Nothing too much erupting from that. A tier 3 drops, but no big push in the mid lane. Or at least the big push got immediately halted. WK is moving in for 64. Who's got so many ways to get out of this one. 4 staff, skewer, blink. Diffusal charge used, not gonna bounce into anything. Penguin, he's got a pipe and a Crimson Guard and a Blade Mail on him. This is and a Aphotic Shield. This is a very particle affected Abaddon here. Who is back to his own side of the map. The Roshan will now be the next target here. Looks like he is getting annihilated by this team. I don't expect the Roshan to last very long. I mean, he's got a lot of HP, he's got a lot of armor, but they'll take the Roche, and they'll go back to defending. 53 minutes into this game, and still no clear winner in sight. It's one of those things, guys, where the plan to win the game is so convoluted for both teams. If you're the Dire, you need some way to deal with these mines. And right now, your Dragon Knight's your best bet. You get him up there with a BKB, and he's fine. But it doesn't seem like there's any BKB in sight for him. And if you want to do this without a BKB on the Dragon Knight, you need a BKB in someone else. You need someone to go up and bait out the mines to go down. Because at the moment, there are so many that if you sit there trying to right-click the mines, someone's going to get force-staffed and just brought down. There's no way to clear the mines unless you get a team wipe, and then you can spend some time to deal with it. But as far as buybacks go, the Radiant, okay, they're missing out on 3 buybacks, but the Magnus still has it and the Techie still has it. So no matter what, you're in fear of the RP, the skewer in, someone getting mined. It's a difficult situation. So the mines will be on the deck. There is going to be a minefield sign to go down on top of it. Magnus, he's got to be right on point with this one. If he can get the RP into the mines, this could be huge. He's waiting, though. Lots of marksman machines, though. Where is our Magnus? Okay, he's split pushing mid. All right. That's also effective. Reef, he ends up getting himself a BKB. Moves now. In for the Rubik. Does get brought down. Now Ola on the run. His Shadow Blade is going to run out very soon. He's going to be scouted out by a bear. It gets barely into the trees. Did Rave see him? Well, Torrent. It's going to mean it doesn't matter anyway. It looks like all those stasis traps really didn't do too much except halt WK and sorry I suddenly for a little bit. Ola, yeah, taking a huge amount of damage from this Kunkka, who's been given plenty of time to farm up items for damage himself. He started out as a support, and now is chunking down a quarter of Rave's HP per hit. I mean, that's pretty amazing in and of itself. So, 64. He's constantly ready. There are so many mines for him to choose from. If he can find an RP and pull someone somewhere, he might be able to garner a kill. Rave now moving in for Ola, who does have a Shadow Blade in 3 seconds. If he can chain bash him down, just needs a little bit more time. Does get it off, and Rave's got no detection. So isn't able to bring him down. Ola, meanwhile, if he can get a couple bits of support in here, he might be able to get the Ursa, but no one's in the vicinity. Iron Boss going to punch down some creeps. And that's about all she wrote. If the Magnus was here, maybe he can go in for an RP play, grab Sorry I Suddenly and Iron Boss and pull them into some mines. But actually, there's many more dire heroes to choose from now. This could be huge. There's your RP. He goes in, catches 2, skewer back. The mines grab them both. There is an Aegis Mortality. I believe that is on Iron Boss, so he will go in further. But they've got the stuns. The stasis trap is enough. And they are able to get enough damage. Can they bring him down? They do. WK with the Omni Slash, but it's not nearly as much needed to get any kills. And, I mean, sometimes it's all it takes. A good RP. Sorry, suddenly now moving in for Rave, trying to get some damage off. A lot of damage coming out. Turns his attention to Elizabeth Do It. Able to do too much right now. Ola's waiting in the wings, but he does get brought down. Now Blue Label in a little bit of trouble. They do get the Astral Imprisonment onto him. He's got the Ghost Scepter. Does he have another one to cast? Looks like he is going to be able to rearm into it. And now his Ghost Scepter chain should be enough. Elizabeth Do It. Baiting out Sorry I Suddenly. Rave taking a whole lot from the Sanity's Eclipse. As Blue Label brings down the Rubik on the back lines. And Sorry I Suddenly is the only one that's left. Reape's pushing into the top lane. And Radiant may be able to get another... Who's Courier? Dire's Courier? No, Radiant's Courier drops. What does it have? No, it had... Oh, wait, no, it is Dire's Courier that dropped. That is a Blade Mail, so not really worth it. I think Dragon Knight, did he trade his Blade Mail for something? No, he just put it on the Courier for his Aegis Mortality, I think. So Blue Label in a bit of trouble, but is able to blink away, Ghost Scepter, TP out. As Rave moves in for Sorry I Suddenly, Astral's out onto the Juggernaut. I think he wanted to self-Astral himself, but he missed the click, and now WK is going to die here. Rave just needs a little bit more. Nope, WK's alive. The tower, though, is in a bit of trouble. With no Magnus in sight, though, the pushing is rather slow. They'll get the tier 3. Racks are going to be a little bit more difficult, but certainly possible. I'm Boss eating up a whole lot of marks in the machines. Rave is there, though. He should be able to man-fight this one, but Wraith King, or WK coming in. Rave, he's just going to drop. No, the Shadow Blade gets out of there alive. Barely, but alive. So the racks aren't going to drop, but the tier 3 tower is long gone. We'll bit some marks and machines out. WK taking a bit of damage from that. The torrent's there, but it's off the mark. A boat also off the mark. Valiant attempt, but not quite enough. Just look at these mines literally everywhere. Elizabeth Dewitt's got 13 mine charges again and an Octarine core to his name. So 36 regen back two. But it's not really supporting his mine stacking here, as the cooldown for mines is just too great. I think he can permanently place remote mines. Or can permanently place land mines, but the remote mines are what's really eating up his mana pool. So he'll just go back and forth to base here. Regenerate all of his mana up, 2,700 to work with. And there's still plenty of mana regeneration items for him to get, too. He could go in for a Yule Scepter. He could just buy some straight-up raw mana and grab a Force Staff. Getting in close to that level 25, though. This is an interesting techies here. As we round about the hour mark. Still no end in sight. But certainly a lot of action still as we're rounding 90 kills in this 60-minute game. Gotta pause. We'll go ahead. Fast forward through this. There we go. We are now on pause. Is our Dragon Knight back to normal? He is! Woohoo! Our Dragon Knight's not bald, and he's not punching things. He's using a sword, which is infinitely more effective. Alright. So, Radiant hanging around here by the Roshan pit. Roshan will be back up in due time, but not yet. Rave, he really wants this, but can't quite get it. Oh, he's permanently Shadow Bladed, isn't he? Let me see if I can fix this. Well, now he's actually Shadow Bladed, but I think he's still permanently Shadow Bladed. Oh, this is gonna be brutal. Yeah, this is gonna be brutal. Oh well. I'll just confuse him for old Slark. That's okay. Permanent invisibility. That's... Oh, man. Rave is doing things, doing work, having fun, I think. I don't know. As far as having fun goes, I'm not quite sure many of these players are having fun at the moment. They're just playing to try to win the game. But it's so hard to win it if you're either team. You're just looking to try your very, very best to end, but nothing you do is going to solidify a win. Rave will move in. Continue farming up. What's he going for? Finally pulling out a Silver Edge. WK, he's looking like he's got 40 minutes of farm in a 60-minute game. Ola, it's a support Kunkka. I can't really fault him for having a lack of items. Holy shit's got everything he needs. Probably will be pulling out an Aghanim Scepter at some point. With I'm Boss. Still no BKB, but the Satanic is looking good. I would still grab a BKB if I were him. Drop the Blade Mail for it. You just, at this point, it's not really worth it. I mean, who are you Blade Mailing against? The Ursa? Well, he's got Enrage. Blade Mail does really nothing against an Ursa. Everyone else, maybe you can burst down the Tinker for it, but to make that kind of play happen, you need more Blade Mails on your team, and with just one, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Speaking of Tinker and Wraith, they found the Dragon Knight in the top lane, but they can't quite get him down. 64 in the mid. Looks like he's going to go toe-to-toe with the... okay, telekinesis straight up into the Astral Imprisonment. They find him, but he's going to Force Staff himself, then he's going to skewer away, and he's fine. But that means that the Radiant are here. They're looking for a fight. Wraith King, or WK, is going to get hit by the Abyssal Blade of Rave. A self-astral or a defensive astral as the Omni Slash comes out. There's going to be a Blade Mail popped. In comes the Torrent, the boat, but Penguin's still alive. Borrowed time now coming out, but the Astral Imprisonment will lock him in place. Now Iron Boss moving in for Rave. Can they get this kill on the Ursa? No Enrage. They get the Ursa. They get Penguin. 2 kills, both with buyback, but still very necessary kills here. Unfortunately, this is a Christmas-themed base. Red and green everywhere on the high ground. Meanwhile, 64 is going in for this Rax, but he bit off a little bit more than he could chew. My god, this is a base that is defended to hell. I can't even see Dire doing anything here. It's kind of funny, though, that this Magnus is so good at pushing. I mean, he is the only tower pusher in this game. If they can win a fight and keep him alive, Radiant can win this very easily. Dire, though, I mean, they've got to get that BKB on Iron Boss, because that just allows him to walk up to the high ground whenever his BKB's down and hit the damn tower. The rest of his team can take care of the Ursa, they can take care of the Magnus. They just need that BKB to make sure the Dragon Knight can go up there and lay into the tower. Otherwise, this happens. Dragon Knight dead. Dragon Knight buyback. Not sure I agree with this one, but 3,300 gold onto the techies. And that buyback means he goes in and try to bring down a set of racks at the very least. But the stasis traps keeping him stunned, keeping both him and WK stunned. Another one dropping. WK taking so much damage here. Iron Boss eating up everything. He's gonna die back. I mean, there's nothing keeping him alive. He's walking past all of these mines. He's just dead. Sorry, I suddenly is picking up some weight here. Finally, he pops his own BKB. This gives him plenty of room to work around with. He cannot be hit with the laser, which means he can't miss. But now the BKB will end, and he gets brought down. The laser's hitting through everyone, doing so much damage. WK is trying to fight, but Rave is man-fighting much more effectively. There is going to be an RP now. Down onto WK, and holy shit, both of them will go down. Only one hero on the Dire dead with buyback. If I didn't know any better, I'd say the Radiant just won the game. I mean, 66 minutes into the game here. Their tower pusher's up. All they've got to do is push, and they can bring down 2 sets of racks easily within the next 60 seconds. But they've got to be quick about it. 64 blowing up creep waves, but they don't have one. They didn't end up killing all the creeps. They can't... Oh, no. They need creeps to make this happen, and they can't get creeps. Ola is doing a great job creep cutting. OD will buy back, and with backdoor protection, I mean, they can't do this. They don't have enough. Huge mistake not bringing creeps with them. But that'll be all she wrote. Dire lived to fight another day, I think. Unless... Sorry, I suddenly goes down here. If he dies, then the hope is still on. But there is going to be a Torrent boat that'll lock enough time for Rave to actually drop. And Blue Label's there. Can he bring down Sorry I Suddenly? Astral Imprisonment onto the Tinker. There is going to be a Torrent a little bit off the mark, but they still have what they need. The Hex is out, and Sorry I Suddenly get the kill, and Dire survive. Dire can fight another day. Awfully inconvenient for them, but sometimes it just happens. What did Techies spend all his gold on? On a cart? What new item does he have? He doesn't have a new item. Okay. Maybe it was the Boots of Travel? Maybe? The Dire will now push all 3 lanes out again, because, well, they can. I think it'd be really useful if Rubik was able to steal Empower here. That could give him plenty of power to win the game, but once again, guy needs a freaking BKB, and he'll end up buying it right now. He's got the Ogre Club, he's got the Mithril Hammer. Just needs a recipe. No buyback, but he already spent it anyway, so doesn't matter whether or not he has buyback for the moment. He'll have it in 3 minutes. So get that BKB on the Dragon Knight and push with that. It'll be a fresh BKB too, so that's more than enough to bring down a Rax if you can protect him from everything else. I think the one main thing here is you need to make sure he doesn't get Abyssal Bladed. The Abyssal Blade could eliminate their push. If he pops BKB, that's stun through the Abyssal, and then Ursa can just follow up and bash him even more. So the way you play this next fight is you try to bait out Ursa's BKB beforehand, then you constantly just Astral him, Dragon Tail him afterwards. Or if he comes in without his BKB popped, you Dragon Tail him, and then you Astral him, and then all the while the Dragon Knight's hitting the tower. So it all relies on when the Ursa pops his BKB. If he pops the BKB and then runs at the runs at the Dragon Knight while his is up, then it's just nothing. The BKB is wasted for the Dragon Knight. The Dire now, they move on through into the bottom lane. Wraith King, or WK's there, and they're just gonna push. Penguin, Diffusal Blade onto him. This is a Divine Rapier now, potentially hitting the deck. The Outworld Devourer has an Aegis Mortality. There is going to be an RP, but it doesn't end up coming through, it looks like. RP is still on the board. There is now the boat falling in. Rave is down, does have buyback. Rave might have to spend it, and he does. Sorry, I suddenly... His BKB is ending. Ironboss still hasn't used his. Very smartly so. The Sanity's Eclipse is down. There's the RP. Rave, he didn't pop it. Our Ironboss didn't pop his BKB. He's gone. Oh, the power of the RP. WK now trying to man fight, but the stasis trap is there. He will end up going down. Sorry, I suddenly is going through. There is no more buyback on the Ursa. No more mines on the ground. If Sorry, I suddenly can just hang through this, he might be able to go through and get up a couple of kills and get the racks here. Blue Label is gone, but does have buyback. WK just hit the towers, man. Hit the racks. They do go for it. There is a glyph, but is it enough? Yeah, it is quite a bit enough. Sorry, I suddenly will stay alive through it. There is the boat, and now Blue Label in a bit of trouble. Holy shit, he's there. They've got some mines, though. WK, he cannot survive the onslaught going through now with the Blade Fury, but is it enough? No, the Blade Fury does literally 0 damage. The racks, they're still alive, and with WK, he's gone. Oh no, that was one of the best fights that the Radiant could have hoped for, or the Dire could have hoped for. I was right the first time. If only the Dragon Knight had popped his BKB. But they're really, like, he played that the best he possibly could. You need to hold the BKB for when you end up pushing up on the high ground. You can't really risk the Magnus going in for that RP. You kind of have to hope at that point that the Outworld Devourer is not caught in the RP so he can Astral someone and protect. But this should be another Rax down. The Dire are going to lose this one. Do they have a glyph? They do have a glyph here. Actually, Ola does have a Divine Rapier. He's going to hit 64 for a bit of damage, but the BKB pop, there is the glyph now spent. 64's just got to wait this one out and hit the back Rex. So, 64 get the Rax, but now he loses his life. It's a melee Rax down, though, so well worth it, I think. Does have buyback if he needs it. I'm Boss is there with his BKB and cheese now. As Ola pushing in the bottom lane, he's got to be very careful not to lose his Divine Rapier. Has his Boots of Travel, has an X mark, so he's got the X marks in the blink. Just pop X mark, blink forward, hit some creeps, and then back off. Dragon Knight TPing to the bottom lane. He cancels that one though. Ola could be in a bit of trouble if he gets caught by Rave, who's chasing him down. Does he blink away? Does he even know? Oh no! Rave goes in comes the damage, and that is the Rapier on the deck. Sorry, suddenly trying to come in and save it, but unfortunately, he might even drop here. Rave, he's still chasing. He's got what he needs, but the Hex comes out. Sorry, suddenly, does he have a blink or anything to get away? He's got the Hurricane Pike if he needed it, so Radiant will get the Rapier, but that's about it. My god, these graphs are just effed up right now. Only 4 heroes with buyback too. The ODs will get his in 17 seconds, and I'm Boss will get his in about 100 gold. And now I'm Boss and OD will both have their, at least I'm Boss has his buyback. Sorry, I suddenly will have his now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. And that is, oh, he did get it. Rubik's stolen power. And since he has the Ags, this Empower gives Cleave. Or it gives Splash. This is amazing. This is amazing. If he doesn't pick up anything else, this would be a worth it spell. He doesn't need anything else. Just hold on to that Empower. My God. Such a good spell to have right now. Lines are being drawn. And I want to push again. 74 minutes into this game. And still no end in sight. I'm Boss will push down the mid lane. He's got to have his Rubik at his side, though. This Empower is important. But Dire, they also need to group up. So finally, Rubik will move close to his Dragon Knight. The Cleave will come through. It looks like they want the top lane. It's actually the smartest lane for them to go for right now. Nekis does not have any mines up there. At least he's got very few. Yeah, if they push in the top right now, they could easily get a Rax. They just have to play this one well. Blue Label comes forward. Blinkers will pop. Iron Boss goes up. Pops his BKB now onto 64. There is going to be a bash here. He does get stunned on the low ground. Blue Label's down. Doesn't have buyback. The more damage comes out from Iron Boss. The Penguin could be going down, but the RP comes through. Catches 3. Pulls him up. Gets him underneath the remote mines. Not enough damage this time, but WK still going down. Iron Boss also getting dropped. Even without the mines, they get the damage they need. Ola in a bit of trouble here. They've got a gem. They're chasing him down. The Rubik goes. Ola, he's gone as well. 3 with buyback. As Magnus TPs into the mid lane. They've got to move more here. They will. They'll boot to travel 2 more. So it's a 3-on-3. If they can force the 3 buybacks, it'd be worth it. Because there's no real downside of this. Rave, he still has a rapier, and with the Empower, it's just hitting for so much cleave. Gets after the Rax. 3 more hits is all it will take. Gets it down, and now Iron Boss, he wants that rapier bad. They boat the Torrent, and the Ursa, he's dropping very low. He needs a Satanic, but he doesn't have any regen. He doesn't have any life. He drops his rapier, and that'll get picked up immediately by Ola, who moves in for Penguin. Pops his Burrow time. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, 64 is going in for these racks. Backs himself away, but the damage is done. The tier 3 has dropped, although I think it might have actually been down before. Yeah, no. 64 does get the tier 3 and gets sizable damage on the melee racks, but that should regenerate in due time. And Dire, they just can't make anything happen right now. 64 will TP away. While Blue Label's down there, but blinks immediately out of this one. Sorry, can he get the distance? He needs some way to catch up, but the blink's away. And Tinker's safe. So I'm Boss. Comes through. Pushes out the bottom lane, but we already saw that BKB did not save him. The damage coming out from the dot rating is too much. And this Ursa has been a major thorn in his side. But that was with the rapier at his back. Now without a rapier, we need to see if they can pull out the same kind of fight. BK with a Scotty. Link Battle Fury. At this point, I say just nix the Battle Fury. You don't need it anymore. What you need on this hero is you need straight up either tank or damage. And I'd say something like a Butterfly could be useful. Something like a Heart could also be useful. Something like an Assault Cuirass could be very useful, actually. Does anyone have one on their team? I don't see one. An Assault Cuirass would do incredible work this game for them. But I think an Assault Cuirass, a Shiva, is someone having an Orchid would be useful for now. Radiant base, light up like a Christmas tree. You can't see any towers distinguish them from the mine stacks here. Guys, we're rolling into the 8-minute mark. This game has gone on 80 minutes. Tinker Techies. Pick them, guys, because they just can't lose. Or at least they can't lose before 80 minutes. After this point, it's still anyone's game. There's Ola now moving into the bottom lane. It'd be a bit of trouble if he gets caught out. I mean, this not too long ago, this was where Rave came in and brought him down. What does our Tinker have? I don't think I've looked at his item build in quite a while. Octarine, Bloodstone, eh. Personally would love to see a Scythe of Ice on him, but for now, I'm just gonna have to deal with this. The item progressions have just been kind of halted. It's been mainly fighting. Elizabeth Dewitt actually pulling out a Necronomicon. Interesting item, but it helps with push. We'll just kind of passively sit around for a couple of minutes. Roshan's up. Sorry, I suddenly should be able to solo this one. Get a second cheese under his name. I mean, this is, look at Roshan. He's hitting for 250 damage with 21,000 HP and 19 armor. Sorry, I suddenly can't actually solo him. This is hilarious. Looks like now with support coming in, he'll actually eat a cheese. Personally, I would have loved for him to have 2 cheeses. That was kind of a waste of a cheese, honestly, but... And so the story goes, they'll pick up the Aegis instead. Cheese will stay on the deck, and that'll go to Einboss. And the Dire will now push again. 80 minutes into the game. The thing about the Dire, though, is that if they lose one more fight, I'm pretty sure they just lose the game. I mean, as far as buybacks go, the Dire are missing their buyback on Einboss. They're missing their buyback on, I'm suddenly. In fact, the only buyback they have is on WK, who, to be perfectly honest, cannot defend the base. So at the moment, we're just going to have to watch this. Slow push, slow methodical. Einboss, at the moment, is one of the saving graces of this team and has been for the entire game. But even he can't stand up to the amount of defense that they've bolstered their base with on the side of the Radiant. And even creeps at this point are bringing down mines, but not nearly enough. The spread of mines has been amazing because the creeps walk in, they don't just bring down the entire mine stack, they bring down a couple. And if you walk, like every single one of these mines is a mid-game to mid-late game auto attack. So you walk in, it's like getting hit by an alchemist walking through. It's just auto attack after auto attack blowing you down. And if they have any minus armor, which I think they have an Assault Cuirass, so yeah, 64's got one, then these mines just do even more damage. But Einboss is now going in for the Heart of Teresk. And Dire will now push in. 82 minutes is the game time. 82 minutes. 65 to 54. And no fight breaking out just yet. But holy shit. And Ola keeping the bottom lane pushed in. WK keeping the top lane pushed in. Einboss keeping the mid lane pushed in. All the while giving as much farm as possible to try to make sure these last tier items come online. Buybacks will be up in 50 seconds, and once they're up, this is our fight. So, we'll just wait for Sorry Sun to come out. Oh no, they're not even going to give him the time. They'll just pull an Einboss, but that's it. That's any push that they could have had. Sorry, suddenly is also in a bit of trouble. Yep, Sorry, suddenly will end up going down. The first time, Aegis has been wasted. However, Rave in a bit of trouble here. The buyback comes on for the Dragon Knight. Does end up wanting to pop it. It's interesting for now. He's holding on. Sorry suddenly is still alive with that BKB coming back. Penguin taking a huge amount of damage, but no borrowed time for him. Or it does have borrowed time, so no kills for Dire. Sorry suddenly is taking so much damage from this. They will hold on to the Dragon Knight for now. Second rapier purchased. That is a 2 rapier Kunkka. Hitting raw 800 damage. With a crit, about 1600 to 1700. It's, oh my god, it's way too much. Way too much damage. BK sitting into the mid lane, using his blink to dodge out the rockets. Penguin holding out on the bottom lane, not really worrying about anything. He knows if the initiation comes on him, his team can get there in time to save him because just killing him takes so long. So at the moment, we'll go back and resort to waiting around again. Ursa and Dragon Knight will come back at around the same time, so maybe we just see that coming out as the fight. Kunkka doesn't have buyback, but if he goes down, it's just not worth it to buy back anyway. He loses 2 rapiers, 1,200 or 12,000 gold resting on this Kunkka's shoulders. That cannot be recovered by buyback. Everyone else, though, has buyback at the ready. Speaking of at the ready, Necronomicon number 3, purchased by Elizabeth Dewitt. So, we'll go back to slowly waiting for this one to happen. 85 minutes now. And counting. The Dragon Knight's back, moving in. The Mind Stack is replenished in the mid lane. Abaddon has gone for 3 Necronomicons of his own with 4,000 gold on top. Just buy a Vlad's. Seriously. There's no reason he shouldn't have a Vlad's right now. I'm on it. How does no one on this team have a Vladimir's? Percentage-based damage is a thing, guys. Late game. It's amazing. Look at Magnus. 158 base. It's like 30 free damage for him. And lifesteal. Lifesteal is always good. And armor. Armor's always good. Regroup up in the mid. RP is back. 64 is waiting. A couple Necronomicons come in, though. They're going to chase. They're going to scout. The Radiant, they can't look to fight right here. This is just too far away from their base. The RP will come through. It catches 2. The skewer back. Is it enough? They get it. 2 down again. And that's I'm Boss. Ola will go down. The double rapiers hit the deck. Magnus, just pick it up. Magnus, just do it. You know you want them. It looks like they're going to put him on Ursa. These RPs have been on point. 86 minutes in. 2 heroes with buyback. Dragon Knight has his in 85 gold. Slowly coming back. But by around the time that his death timer actually ticks, he'll be back alive. Holy shit, moving in. Kunkka buys back. There is a Hex out onto the 64. He cannot die here. He dies. They lose all of their push. They move in for Saria suddenly. Saria suddenly is dead. He does have buyback, though. And comes through Label, who does end up going down. Rave is in, looking for the jug. Can he get this kill? No, he turns onto Ola. Now his BKBs run out. The 2 rapiers hit the deck again. WK just pick one of them up. No, don't pause. Please don't pause. No. This is not something I want to pause. The hype is dead. No, it isn't. Penguin, he's dead. Oh, man. The Dire, they repel. Multiple buybacks spent, but it's a repel nonetheless. And where'd the rapiers go? Did Kunkka pick him up again? Yes, he has him again. How many buybacks does Dire have? 1. They have 2. They have 2 buybacks. I mean, this is what happens when you wait so long in between pushes. Buybacks come back off cooldown. Like, yeah, the real question, how many bombs does Elizabeth Dewitt have? I what even is this hero? This is just I'm pretty sure, yeah, my FPS is dropped to half. Look at that. I'm rocking 70 FPS here. I move over to the mines, 50. That's... I can't do this. It's gonna let this happen. The OD is gonna walk at the mines. Is there a force staff? Elizabeth, do it. Just buy a force staff at this point. Someone get a force them in. Magnus, go. Just go and force someone. I think they're actually just waiting for the RP to catch him. I'm Boss will pop the BKB. He'll go up on the high ground. But what does he do? I mean, the BKB is about to run out. And when it does, he's actually doing a great job going into the side, clearing as many of these mines as possible. Doesn't end up getting stasis. He is over a bunch of remote mines, though. Little does he know, the remote mines aren't just here. They're everywhere. Meanwhile, WK is in the top lane. Only one remote mine here. Pops himself with a heal, but 64 will push him through all these mines. Yep. That's all I can say right now. 64 moving in. Everyone from the Radiant are alive. WK has no buyback, but I'm Boss has his. And so they move in. 64 should be pushing solo. The rest of them will boots or travel in when he gets close to their base. Ola now, one of the saving graces for their team. Can he bring 64 down? Boat, Torrent, they connect. In comes the dead. No, he can't hit a creep. The BKB does get popped, and 64 is well enough alive. The boots of travel to him. They're 2 and ready to go. Sorry, I suddenly will get caught, or he'll end up catching out with the... the Sanities comes through after the Hex. Brings down 64 with buyback, though. I think Radiant just go for it. Just do it. Brave will move in. There is a glyph to spend. Penguin now moves in. Boots will travel out. They move back, but there is a BKB for Sorry I Suddenly. BKB on Rave himself, though. He moves in. The bashes come out. The Rocket self-astral. Penguin now going in. He's hitting the base. Can you send it? The creeps, the Necros, hit the base, please. There is going to be the Hex, but Rave, he survives through it. The base now is losing all of its HP. Ola comes in, double rapier, but only the Torrent comes through. Rave is still hitting. Holy shit, Iron Boss moves in. Can he bring down Rave? The Aphotic Shield is keeping him alive for now. The Enrage is enough. Ola comes in, he hits 1 hit and brings down 2. And Radiant, they lose everyone. Aside from the techies. But the game, 91 minutes in, and it's still going. Wraith King pushing through with some creeps. The game. And I don't see Dire even pushing this right now. They can't push this. I mean, this game is pretty much guaranteed to go on 60 more seconds, I think. I mean, unless Iron Boss gets the best tower push of his life right here. So he'll move up onto the high ground and nearly die to the remote mines. Let the heart get him right back up to full. He'll pop the Satanic with the heart regen. Yep, he's alive again. He's full HP. The rest of his team isn't close by, but I don't think he really cares. He's got the BKB. 64 might just go in and try to RP Skewer or just do something to him. He's got the blink. He's going to go in, skewer him up, with the BKB being popped. Now turns, Dragon Tails out onto the Magnus. He does not have Elder Dragon for him, so he can't do anything too much here. He's just going to walk away. Meanwhile, WK trying to split push, going in for the techies, but gets hit by the stasis trap. Now a landmine. 64 is hitting him, doing a whole lot of damage. WK, though, will pop the Blade Mail and TP away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, the melee Rex has gone down. The ranged Rex getting a lot of damage done to it. The double rapiers doing some work work here. The landmine's not quite, or remote mine's not quite enough. Meanwhile, back in the mid lane, I'm Boss is hitting what he can, but he might just end up going down. Yeah, Blue Label's not going to continue chasing. Meanwhile, WK doesn't end up going down on the top lane as I suddenly goes in and brings down 64. The Magnus is dead. The Rax might be pushed, but the Magnus, he buys back. They're going in. They aren't going to lose too much more than this. I'm Boss moves in for another tier 3 tower, but the laser comes out. In comes Rave looking for some deeps. Can he bring down this Dragon Knight? That is the question. Does Dragon Knight have buyback? He does, so even bringing him down might not be too big of a deal, but they're going to go for it anyway. The skewer off the mark, so they are going to have to back off this one. Meanwhile, into the mid lane, Penguin going to chase down Sorry I Suddenly, get a bit of Curse of the Avernus onto him, but the turnaround, the Hex, the Necronomicons, they're dead. The damage is there, but the borrowed time, enough. The Sanity's Eclipse, or sorry, the Astral Imprisonment will lock him in place, but he still goes down. The RP will catch Sorry I Suddenly, as well as, holy shit, they can't bring down the Kyros in the midst of it though. The BKB popped on the 64, the rockets come through, but 64 is dead. The buyback has been wasted. Sorry I Suddenly self-astrals as they move in now for Blue Label. Holy shit, we'll get the telekinesis off, but he is dying very quickly, goes down. The rockets come in, but Sorry I Suddenly get him, and he dies to a melee ranged creep. OT, he dies to a ranged creep. There is still a Ursa on the field as I'm Boss now moves in, trying to bring down these creeps as fast as possible. Rave now will go in. The racks are exposed in the top. The racks are dead in the bottom. There is there is backdoor protection, but that'll go down very quickly. In comes the Juggernaut. So I'm Boss now moving in for these racks. They do have the glyph, but I'm Boss, does he have a BKB? He might just pop it. There is going to be a boat, but he rocks into the states. He doesn't pop his BKB. And now Rave pops into Enrage. He wants to bring down I'm Boss, but he's just too damn tanky. Moving in for Elizabeth Do It, who might just have to suicide here. He's on the run. He does go down. The stun, though, from Rave. The stacks of the Fury Swipes are starting to make a big appearance here, and he goes down. Does have buyback, but the racks have gone down. The mid lane, they still survive. WK getting taken away. They'll Blade Fury and walk away from this one. As Rave, Diffusal Charge used onto him. Slowed down, cannot chase. 95 minutes into this game. And still no end in sight. Tinker will TP to the top lane though. WK will TP back to base. And Rave will go where Tinker is. Looks like if he can bring down Ola here, this could be a huge kill. Ola, he's got 2 rapiers, but Rave will move in. The boots of travel in. There is going to be a Shadow Blade. Can they have detection? Do they see him? Can they find him? They cannot. Meanwhile, Torrent, they look like they want to find Rave. They'll hit him with a Diffusal, and out he goes. They get pops the BKB. He's trying to man fight. They'll get a TP in. They'll let them TP in. No, actually Abaddon, he does come into this one, but he's dropping way too low, way too fast. Rave goes down. Penguin's there. Sorry, I suddenly, he's going for the defense. He's looking for Blue Label, but the Ghost Scepter isn't enough. They astral him down. Can they get this kill? It looks like another Ghost Scepter. They get him. 3 dead on the Radiant with no buyback. But 64 is doing what he can with the racks. Can he bring it down, though? No, he cannot. They're moving in for him. He pops the BKB, but if he dies here, this could be it. This could be the end. Does he have buyback? He does not. So he is dead. And Techies is alone. So Dire, they might be able to push here. 96 minutes. 40 seconds into this game. The Dire, they aren't in any position to push. They have boots of travel. They have one on Jug, but they have... Okay, they also have one on Ola. They got to go for this. They really have to go for this. There's only a couple racks standing. They can mega. They can secure a decent portion of this game, but they can't win it yet. Sorry, suddenly we'll get hit by the stasis. Meanwhile, in the lower lane, there are no racks here, but I'm Boss will still walk in through it, walks through all of these landmines, but it's not really doing too much damage to him. He does get hit by the stasis, but he's moving in. He wants the tier 4s. Can they get it? I'm Boss, he's just tanking through all of this. They get all the racks that they need, and now Ola moving through. They go for the tier 4s. Can they end this game right here, right now? WK moves in. They've got the damage. They're hitting it. They're doing a whole lot here. In comes the health, the healing ward. bringing WK all the way back up. They go in. If they can bring this Techies down, it could be huge. Rave, he's in. Techies, suicide, buyback. He's back in the fray, but Rave's taking way too much damage here. They are going down. Iron Boss, does he have a BKB? He pops it. The laser doing nothing. Rave, the buyback, the death. Our Ursa has hit the deck. Another tier 4 still standing. They need the Kunkka to win this game. The Techies buys back and dies. Self-Astral, Iron Boss. The RP now down. Their WK should end up going down here, but the Magnus, he can't find the damage he needs. The Rubik ends up going down. Iron Boss being pulled back, but not in the fountain. 64, does he go down? He survives. The Ancient, they need to kill it. They're hitting it. The damage is there. Half HP, quarter HP. No, they made the tire. They did it. I didn't think they could. I thought the Radiant had this, but they get it. Oh. That's it. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this game. I know I hit a bit of a stretch there where it got a little bit boring, but man, what an ending. Dire, they win it. Let's just briefly go through these guys just so you can see their stats. Actually, scoreboard. Just an amazing game. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, guys. But that is it. So I hope you continue sending in those replays. I hope you continue enjoying them. And I'll catch you all next time.